Welcome to our third flip class, this time about culture and the definitions of culture, with a suit for JP. This flip class, I'm going to present you three different definitions of culture. These three definitions show the complexity and the different uses of the term culture during time. We're going to start with one pretty old and then move in time to the second definition, then the third definition, which is the most modern but most complex. Because it is complex, we're going to break it down. We're going to take it and break it to three simple parts. Then we're going to combine them to one large and whole definition. And move in time to the second definition, then the third definition, which is the most modern but most complex. Because it is complex, we're going to break it down. We're going to take it and break it to three simple parts. Then we're going to combine them to one large and whole definition. When we get to our classroom, I would like us to compose and construct our own practical definition. So the first definition is that culture has something special in it. Culture refers to special intellectual or artistic endeavors or products. Shakespeare is culture. And the theater play that you write or I write, well, it's not culture, it's just garbage. It's low culture. And something that every one of us or that is passed through the generations is low culture. It is, well, folk, and it's not high culture. If you see it in a museum, it's culture. If you hear it in the street, it's not culture. If it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's not culture. But Picasso, something completely different. This is culture. Well, of course, you can see it has some elitistic nature to it, and it's not very productive, this definition of culture. Second definition is this. Culture is a complex whole. Culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as member of society. So it has something very important in it. It has to do with human beings in a society. But this is a lot, right? It includes basically everything. And this is a bit of a problem. If it's everything at the same time, so what is it? It's a little bit hard to understand. One other aspect of this definition is it has some scale to it or some spectrum. And if you like, an evolution. Because it has to do with law, with custom, with some kind of organization of society, it has scales to it. It progresses, it evolves through time. In this way, you can organize this culture by, let's say, by degrees. Savage society is the most primitive form of society. They use primitive tools, primitive systems of beliefs, and so and so. Barbarians, well, they have here, as you can see, horses. They have tents. They're a little bit more complex. One might imagine they have some laws. Well, this one, half civilized, they have laws, they are more ordered, they have organized systems of beliefs, but they are not civilized. Well, they are not Western, aren't they? They don't read books, or they don't read the same books as us, hence they are not fully civilized. And this idea of society, this idea of degrees of society, or degrees of culture, it's ethnocentric. It tends to put our society, our culture, in the middle, and everything which is different from us is less idea. But it does have something to it. The idea that it has to do with human beings and with the way human beings share beliefs, laws, and other characteristics of the society is very important. And it leads us to the third definition. The first part of this definition is this. Culture has to do with a collective and distinct thing. Well, culture is what distincts one group of people from the other. And it is some kind of programming of the mind. It is the way we think. It is the way we behave later on basis of what we think. So when the sun comes out, In China, people use umbrellas, they want to protect themselves. But in Germany, they go out, take off the clothes, and just bathe in the sun. It makes them different. These are two different cultures. And this is the way they are programmed. This is not something so voluntary. This is the way our society or their society behaves. Second part of our third definition is this: a set of attitudes, values, beliefs, and behaviors shared by a group of people but different from each individual, communicate from one generation to the next. So this is something that is more or less hereditary. We are being educated towards it. Our parents tell us stories or educate us how to behave, how to believe, if to be afraid of spiders or to love them, be afraid of snake or think of them as gods, and if we should eat with our hands or wipe our asses with them. And each of us takes these education and we incorporate it, we act upon it, just a little bit different. Another part of culture is this: it is fuzzy, it is vague. It is not something very, very explicit. And it has to do with values, with orientations for life. It tells us how to act, what to believe in, some policies, procedures, and it has to do with how we interpret each other's behavior. Culture is influenced by our behavior, and it tells us how to understand each other's behavior. So take, for example, this sign right here. It means something different in every other place. And if you're part of the culture, you understand it. If you're Brazilian and somebody signals you like this with your finger, it means you are an asshole. In the United States, it means something completely different. As we said before, it is distinct. It's something that distincts one group of people from the other. If we all stop using this sign, if all Brazilians will stop using this sign or will use it differently, use it as an okay, it will change. Let me give you an example. In Israel, or well, basically all around the world, the Beatles were considered huge rebels at the time. They played rock, they played pop, music that was at that time very rebellious. And they were even forbidden, the Israeli government forbade them of coming and performing in Israel with the idea that they will corrupt the spirit of the youth. Well, after interpretation of the behavior of this music, of this behavior has changed, they are now part of Israeli culture. There is a radio program every weekend, Friday at noon, which broadcasts only Beatles songs. So now they are part of Israeli culture. Well, this is the complete definition, and it takes all of what we have said about the third definition so far, and it puts them together and adds a little bit more. Culture consists of patterns, explicit and implicit, and of and for behavior acquired and transmitted by symbols, constituting the distinctive achievements of human groups, including their embodiment in artifacts. The essential core of culture consists of traditional ideas and especially their attached values. Culture systems may, on the one hand, be considered as products of action, on the other, as conditional elements of future action. So let's break it down. Culture consists of patterns. Let's think of Superman as a pattern. Well, there is a certain pattern to every Superman story, right? There is something very bad and evil going on. Superman comes to the rescue. He faces some kind of difficulty because the evil is so great. He overcomes it and good triumphs over evil. Now, this pattern is not unique to Superman. Other superheroes, they have the same pattern. Batman is basically the same, right? He has some kind of evil going on that he has to face, and he comes to the rescue. Some kind of difficulty almost interferes, and he overcomes the difficulty and wins. So the explicit message is that helping others, being a superhero, is a good thing. What about the implicit part of it? Well, The implicit part, the one that is between the lines, nobody actually says it, is that Superman is an alien. So it's not you, not me. We cannot really be heroes, or at least not superheroes the way Superman is. And if we do want to be a hero, a superhero, so we should be something more like Batman, super rich. All right. Another part of this definition is that it has to do with human achievements, of these society's achievement. And I think Batman symbols it very well. What is Batman's superpower? Well, Batman has gadgets, right? He manufactures this technology. And this is, well, a symbol of our society's achievements. The biggest of all, at least in the Batman version, is the Batmobile. This is the ultimate gadget, and we are all part of it. This is the achievement of our society, at least when Batman was created somewhere in the last century. He is capitalist. He owns everything. He has tons of money. Think of Iron Man. What is his achievement? Well, he is educated, engineer, which is a society's achievement, and he owns money, the achievement of capitalism, which allows both of these superheroes being as successful as they are. Now, just being rich or just being powerful is not enough. There is another part of the definition which has to do with values. Well, the values behind these superheroes is that being a hero, helping others, is good. It's important. It's valuable. Being powerful, being strong is very good. Powerful equals good. Helping others equals good. Being selfish is bad. Let's think of the evil Spider-Man. What is the difference? He is also very strong, but he's selfish. Selfish and strong is very bad. It's a villain. Selfish is bad, powerful good, but together they are the worst. The last part of this definition is maybe the hardest. It says, similarly to two contradictory things, that culture is product of action, and on the other hand, is conditioned element of future action. So what does it mean? It means that on the one hand, we are making it. We are making it by educating others to this culture, telling them what is right or what is wrong. And on the other hand, it is conditional. We want to influence somebody's behavior in the future, some actions in the future, and it is conditional in the sense that we choose to accept it or not. Think about genes as an example. It was a product of a man, an action of a man who produced genes. It was accepted by future generation as a cultural symbol, and we accept it now. In Israel, it was during the 70s, jeans were considered taboo. If you wear it, you are a freak, you are a hippie. Today, just one more clothes. So future generation chose to accept it, and now it's a part of our society, part of our culture.